Hey, I'm here to talk to you. That's why I'm here. Um, I want to go through the explanation of the research paper for this class, household codes in their Roman context. Um, I think they're pretty clear. I have the copy up on Canvas, so you can download it there. But for the sake of being as clear as possible, which at the end of this, you'll be the judge. I just thought it would be helpful to you for me to spend some time walking through them, through the assignments, elements, and requirements. So this research paper comes out of what Ephesians and Colossians share. Ephesians 5:21 through 6:9, Colossians 3:18 through 4:1. I'd like to read the Colossians, the shorter Colossians passage with you. Wives, be subject to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and never treat them harshly. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this is your acceptable duty in the Lord. Fathers, do not provoke your children, or they may lose heart. Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, not only while being watched in order to please them, but wholeheartedly, fearing the Lord. Whatever your task, put yourself into it as if it's done for the Lord and not for your masters, since you know that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. I didn't read that right, but you get the idea. You serve the Lord Jesus, the Lord Christ. For the wrongdoer will be paid back for whatever wrong has been done, and there's no partiality. Masters, treat your slaves justly and fairly, for you know that you also have a master in heaven. So this is a code. You have the categories of people in a home, and there are expectations of those in that household. And so Paul is going through a list that's now a Jesus group duties, or a revision of their duties. So that's what we're trying to understand is what's the background of this code, this household code. You can see the Ephesians quotation is much longer. It's more elaborate. You can notice all of the elements are there, but they're just more developed. All right, so let's talk about the assignment. The purpose of this project, this research project, is to acquaint the student, you, with the significance. How significant is the role the historical cultural context plays in understanding Paul's letters? So the purpose of this is to get you into the earth, so to say, and get your hands dirty with the dirt of the first century Roman culture, which then will help you understand the meaning of the Paul's letter. So that's the purpose. Now the project. Read the two passages above. These share similarity in their list of instructions to various categories of persons. Your research question for this project, not product, project, is this. Here it is. What is the Roman household? And how does it affect the meaning of these two similar passages from Paul's letters? So you're going to study and answer that question. What is the Roman household? And then you're also, as a part of that, you're going to then look at those passages. In a sense, it'll be, you don't have to look at them independently or address them independently, but you're going to then bring that knowledge into the study of that part of Paul's letter to see if it helps you understand the meaning of that passage. So that is the research questions, really. In answer to these questions, you will be answering several more. Those questions will develop as you do your research. Here are examples of some of the kinds of questions. So here are some more questions that will come off of the main question. From where did the sharp definitions of the roles of members of the family get clarified? And by whom? So where did these distinctions, these role distinctions, where did they develop? And by whom? In that I'm thinking not from ancient times, ancient times, but with respect to the Roman Empire, which would have inherited some. So you want to talk about maybe what was inherited, but how were those roles further developed, if they were? Another one is how does the Roman household function in Roman society? Related to that, what happens if one transgressed their role? What I mean by that is if a child did not obey their father, what in a household, what would be the consequence of stepping across the black lines of the role? So those are just some more questions that could possibly come up as you're doing your work. So that's the project. Study, research the question, what is the Roman household? And then you're going to bring that information and research how the information illuminates the text. All right, the requirements. First, you're required to have an outline of your study which references or referencing one secondary source by September 28. So what I want by September 28 is to see an outline of your research. What's going to be your plan? What is your research plan? When you were in high school or even in middle school. I remember this, you know, and it might happen here too, but the, you know, basic uh, um, strategy for writing papers, you know, was to uh, get an outline. So learn enough about the subject. You got to know something about the subject before you can get to an outline. Learn some stuff about the subject, and then show the path to the answer of the research question. So, you know, step one, you know, Roman numeral one, I'm going to investigate in a general sense what the household is, you know, just get a kind of a big picture view. Point number Roman numeral two, I'm going to drill down into, you know, X, Y, Z. Roman numeral three, I'm going to bring that information that I've learned into conversation with Ephesians and Colossians. I mean, that's silly. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but so you might have then sub points under those, which would be tasks that are necessary for you to do to accomplish the main step. You get what I'm saying? And I want you to reference a source. What do you mean, Joel, by referencing? I want to see how a source is informing your outline. How are you interacting with that source? So what that's going to look like is you're going to, after you do your outline, you're going to go to the bottom of your page and you're going to put the bibliographic information, you know, like author, title, you know, publisher, well, city, publisher, you know, page number, that sort of thing. So you do that, and then under it, you give me a couple of paragraphs about how this resource has helped you in furthering your research project. Okay, so an outline and what you might call, what is called an annotated bibliography. An annotated bibliography. You give the biographical information, and then under it you talk about the book. Got that? That makes sense? And that'll be an assignment. So I'm going to create an assignment. That'll be an assignment you have to post on Canvas by the 28th at 11:59. Number two, you must interact with two Roman sources from the first century. You will surely find references to ancient sources in the secondary literature, and perhaps even with quotations of the relevant passages. But because you won't settle for that kind of shoddy work, you're going to go above and beyond. And you're going to go and look up the passage in the Loeb Classical series, green volumes, probably, maybe a red one, but no, I think Greek is in green, but you might use red, or where they have the translations for this stuff. I want you to go back to the first century. I don't want you to just, you know, um, throw in what this guy says and what that guy says, but I want you to be able to go back there and like you're literally going back, time machine back to the first century, and you're getting a sense of what's it like. I mean, the smells, because it would be very smelly. The hustle and bustle of Rome. The sights and the tastes, and just kind of becoming a part of it. Awakening imagination. Anyway, now I'm going off, but I want you to go back and look at some of this literature for yourself. Read a text from 2,000 years ago. I mean, how often are you going to be able to do that in your life? Get a hold of a text that was written 2,000 years ago, besides the Bible, and read a little of it. Yes, that's what you should do. That's what you should do. I have a footnote here, and my footnote is that your best bet for this requirement is to ask a librarian for help. So you will find like a book and a reference to a passage that relates to something about the household. And you write that down, and you go to the librarian and you say, I really need some help. Dr. Willits has asked me to go track down an original source, and I don't know anything about that. And if it's Steve Spencer, that's all the more. That's all the better. You could even ask for Steve. Steve is a great guy. He was actually my professor at one time. Anyhow, that's your best strategy for accomplishing that part of it. For me, that's the most exciting element of this, because we so little get our hands on original sources. We end up just kind of reading, what somebody else thought about it, or somebody talking, using it as a reference, and whoever goes and looks that up and has the privilege of interacting with an ancient text. That doesn't have to just be for geeks. You come on. I mean, I'm no geek. Well, actually, I just think it's pretty cool to touch something like that. Not literally, but metaphorically. 3, excluding the primary text described above, so excluding number 2, and excluding the scripture references. Those don't count towards this. Those aren't counted as part of the secondary literature requirement. You must have at least 3 citations per page. So each page of your paper has to have quoted or paraphrased 3 different sources on that page. I want you to be writing footnotes, because you don't know anything about this, and that's okay. That's good, And so whatever you say about this is going to be what somebody else said. So you should have lots more than 3 on a page, but at least 3. At least 3. The secondary literature you will use is, for this research project, is, these are in the requirements that were listed on the syllabus: 3 commentaries on Ephesians, 3 commentaries on Colossians, 3 scholarly articles. You know what? I'm just, no, I'm just going to leave it like that. And then 2 other sources of your choosing. So 3, 9, 11. I'm going to drop this down to 2. Yeah, I'm going to drop that down to 2. Yeah. So I'm dropping those down to 2. So 2 commentaries on Ephesians, 2 on Colossians, 3 scholarly articles, 2 other sources of your choosing. What kind of sources would those be? Well, I think you'll figure out what you need. You know, perhaps a book on Roman culture, for example. You know, something about something that's about Rome, not just biblical stuff. In fact, can I go? No, I gotta keep that. I gotta keep that. I'm gonna do this though. I'm gonna drop that down to 1. And then I'm going to raise, I'm gonna raise this to 3. Oops. I'm gonna raise this to 3. You're seeing it work out itself right in front of your face. The length is 6 to 8 pages. I think you'll have a difficulty getting it, you know, down to 6. But if you do, good on you. I find that most of the time undergrads, if they write less, it's shoddy work. Students who write a bit more, their work is better. Just my experience. Doesn't mean that it'll be true this time, but it's my experience, just saying. It must be written in grammatically sound prose. I'm going to be evaluating how well your paper has been written, your project. So the quality of writing is important to me. Now, here's a pet peeve I have, and I have a long footnote on it. Do not, under any circumstances, have a heading on the front page of your paper. None. Start at the very top of the page. Start an inch from the top of the page. I can't count the number of papers I get where a quarter of the page is taken up with their name, my name, the class name, the weather, their father's great grandfather's grandfather. I don't need your name. You're turning it into Canvas. It's already in your, attached to you. You don't need to give me my name. I already know it. And why is the class title even important to put it on a paper? I mean, we both know that. So, no, none of that. Do not use a quarter of the page to fill in needless information. Have I made my point? Here I have this on the syllabus as well, but this is a showing you how to do search for articles about household codes, or you could put just Roman households, and you don't just have to use Atla, but Atla is a really good search engine. Yeah, so we don't need to say that. I give you a list of some commentaries that you can look at. All right. I think that is sufficient. And look at this. You've got an explanation of the research project. You've seen me think on the fly about a part of the research project. And you heard my spiel about taking up a quarter of the page with useless, needless information. So that was, I'm sure, a very inspiring video for you. And if you need any more information, don't hesitate to reach out to me.